Okay. Well, now I can go. So, welcome to the fourth Monday of the month Rules and Public Policy meeting. I guess I am, as I've been told a little bit ago, the new acting interim chair of this committee. So, having said that, I was not prepared. I have no agenda, so to speak. I don't think that means we can't accomplish anything. Am I still on? I've lost my Zoom.
Yes.
Yep.
We hear you. We don't see your bright smiling face.
Well, here you go. I lost my interface. My face is not bright or smiling today. So, but nonetheless, I have no agenda. But I did see that we have a link to Jim O'Shea's drive that had the meeting minutes. Did everybody get them?
Probably, yes.
Well, I think we should at least maybe approve of those meeting minutes today and then maybe set our next agenda, if that's okay for tonight evening.
Sure.
Mary Jo, did you look at the meeting minutes from August?
No, I do remember seeing Jim there.
I mean, if you haven't, we can always approve those next month with the brief meeting minutes.
Yeah, in full
today.
honesty, I did not look over them. I would not doubt Mr. O'Shea, but I did not look over them.
Okay, well, that's fair. Why don't we just put a pin in that until next month, and we'll just do 2 sets next month. Does that sound all right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Since I don't have an agenda for today, maybe we can think of, how we move forward as a committee, if there's anything that we want to do moving forward. Now that Jim's gone, I know he was kind of spearheading the effort of continuing to make small amendments to the rules of council. I personally, this is just my feeling, I think that's something that should always be there when it comes up. I don't know that that should be necessarily our primary goals moving forward. I think we should make ourselves more available to review other legislation that might come down the pike, personally. But I'd like to know your thoughts on how we want to move forward.
When you say review legislation coming down the pike, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, everything has to be thrown into committee for the most part. I mean, not everything has to be all the time, but I mean, typically speaking, things are thrown into committee. And I feel like habitually this committee kind of gets overlooked, which, depending the substance of any ordinance that comes through, I mean, this is rules and public policy. I mean, one aspect is rules, which I guess is council rules. Public policy in and of itself is as a function of reviewing legislation and proposing legislation and things like that.
So I know that Jim had all of the different, what did he call them, like campers and stuff like that, RVs. I don't think we ever fixed all of those different versions, did we?
No. Nope.
So we could even figure that out.
Yeah, maybe I could email him and get kind of his last status of work product on that. And maybe we could finish that up. But yeah, I personally, I mean, it's just me. I think council rules are okay, generally speaking. But I mean, that's somewhat just council's own function, right? I mean, it's not doing much for the community as
Yeah,
a whole.
I think his main push for that was cleaning up the glaringly obvious things that needed to be changed, and I think we already hit those. One was the start time was wrong on there, and there was whatever, because we made motions on his last night, or he made motions on his last night on council, and I thought we fixed all those. But he had sent a link to in Google Docs, and I just tried bringing that. I wonder if it's because it was related to his account, and his account has been canceled. But I can't get to that the Google Docs that he shared that has the newest version of council rules. Can anyone else see that?
I can try to see if I can get to it. Let me see.
It looks like he sent it on September 20th.
Um,
It says invitation to view. Do you have that? I'm
I do.
assuming he sent that to all council.
Yeah, I see it. Let me see.
When I click open in docs, it says, sorry, the file doesn't exist.
Yep, that's what it says for me. That was one of the things I was concerned about, frankly, and I still haven't really met with Mr. Mosby about it, and I guess I need to get on top of that, because if you create, he created all of these files in Google Docs and saved them under his email. That's how Google works. So once his email is deactivated, then the documents go away unless we've saved them some other kind of way. So we need to figure out a way to save our documents if we're going to use this platform that will, survive, a person not coming back to council or.
That's horrible for our retention policy too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. I mean, that's the bigger fear, right? Is that it's a public record, and drafts are public records. So it's not just the finished product, Technically speaking, if ordinance has 3 or 4 drafts, you're supposed to maintain those drafts too. So that might actually be a worthwhile contact with Ron. I mean, we need to get whatever Jim's work product is. And I'm sure Jim's going to work with us on that anyway. So
Christians too, for that matter. But yes,
it's not like Jim's the kind of guy. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm done. Deal with it. So I'm sure he'll send it to us.
Even at that, it's associated with his North College Hill email account. So all we would have to do, in theory, is activate his email account again, right?
Right.
What am I missing? Yeah.
Did we even deactivate it? I mean, did that happen? Do we know if that happened?
Well, if I look, I think it is, because I looked at the distribution list for council, and Christian and Jim are both off of it.
That was fast.
Yeah. I mean, what
It's
they
faster
should
than
be
anything
doing
works in
is
this city.
not deactivating it. They should just change the password.
Yeah.
So we still have access to it, but they don't, right? I mean, that's what you normally do at a law firm or something. If someone changes firm, you don't delete their inbox. You just change the password. So someone still has access to those records. Well, so let's follow up with Jim, Ron, whoever we need to follow up with. I don't know that Jim can help us then. So, I mean, from what you just told me, it sounds like Jim wouldn't be able to do anything anyways, right? Unless he has a copy backed up on his own hard drive.
Right. I'll definitely check with Ron. I'm supposed to meet with Ron about our, how we were going to save our documents. And honestly, I don't know if I'm a fan of using Google Docs. And I think that we just need to figure out, everybody use whatever program or whatever they want to use. And then, we submit them to whomever. That person scans them into whatever we decide to use. And that's how we save them for public record purposes.
I mean, if this is a limitation of Google Docs, then I don't know that how we could possibly go forward with this.
I don't know. I agree. I don't see. I
But I'm
agree.
not that familiar with it either because
Right.
I do not like it, so I stay away from it because I do with what I'm familiar with. Right.
Well, here's the problem. We have individual users creating a Google Doc folder and then sharing it with other members of council. If the city itself had a Google Docs account with subfolders, this wouldn't be an issue. Or if the city got, let's say, a Dropbox account for $10 a month or whatever it is, the business account, where you have there's very small limitation on space. You have tons of space. Everybody could have access to that, or different committees and different folders. So, I mean, it's possible to do things like this. It's just the account itself should be centralized to the city, not an individual council member, for various reasons, like this one.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just.
So who's going to own that?
I will,
Eric
because
or is that Matt?
that's me, because I'm supposed to be working on it anyway. So, it sounds like we need the city needs to create some kind of something. Do you have suggestions as to what we can use? And then, I'll go talk to Ron about it.
Well,
we could do a OneDrive account.
I was going to say, there's limitless options. I mean, there's
Yeah.
OneDrive through Microsoft, there's Google Docs, there's Dropbox. I mean, those are the three big ones that are like cloud things that everybody uses. It just needs to be owned by, the account needs to be owned by the city and the various council members and or even administration members should have access to it.
Yep.
Okay, well, we solved that problem.
We pushed it off a little bit, but yes.
Okay.
Well, we solved it by agreeing that we're going to make Ron solve it. That's solving. Delegation is all part of legislative authority. So, well, that's great. And then I don't know. We could all try to reach out to Jim and to see if he has anything backed up on his hard drive as well.
Okay. That makes sense.
Anything else immediately pressing? Because I think my plan is to just reach out to Ron or even the law director and just make our committee available for reviews of ordinances or any law or policy that we want to discuss moving forward. And we can work on the RV thing, but I also want to make us, but I don't have copies of what Jim had already done.
Yeah, I mean, since it's already been brought up, I think we should. I mean, we know that it's glaringly wrong, so we should fix it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Was it last spring, Mary Jo, we worked with Bill Knight to kind of adjust the code in terms of property maintenance. It might be nice to bring him back in and see if it needs any more massaging before spring hits. It's something we can do over the winter.
Yeah, we can invite him to a meeting. Heck yeah. Good plan.
Yeah, we haven't talked to him in a while now. Don't. Flattery will get you everywhere, but we'll reach out. Maybe we'll do that because it's not his busy season, I guess, so to speak, or at least that's wrapped up. So maybe it's a good time to reach out to Bill Knight and to pull him in and say, hey, how are the new adjustments to the property codes? Is there anything else that we can do to make your job more effective in terms of the legislation? How about that for like the next meeting? Does that sound good?
Yeah. Can you broaden that scope a little bit and invite the new guy, Roger? Because I've never met him. I don't know if anyone has, but it might be nice to meet him also.
Sure. The Zoom version of meeting somebody.
Yes. Yes.
Roger have a last
Absolutely.
name?
I believe it's Neff, Neff. It's my best guess.
Okay. I'll reach out and see if Bill Knight and Roger Neff would be available to attend our next meeting to discuss our property codes. And that'll give us another month to get all the previous records maybe in order. Sound good?
If you, Matt, just as a side note, if you hear back from them, I'll need to know so I can get them a link sent.
Okay. I'll send Ron an email.
Okay.
Tonight and ask him to invite them.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, great. Well, I mean that's a little bit of work. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have ideas when we talk to them, and that'll give us something to do and to work on. And that's all I got in my brain. Does anybody else have anything they want to discuss?
No, not at the present moment. Not that I can really, nothing jumps out.
Yeah, me either.
Okay. Well, you guys want to adjourn and then await our 7:30 start time for the next meeting?
I'll
Sounds
make a
good to
motion to
me.
adjourn.
I second.
Okay. So Mary Jo, then I guess we just we can back out of this and then rejoin at 7:30.
Drew is on here. Drew, we can probably just black out our cameras or whatever.
Right. We don't normally back out, right?
No.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have
like
to leave.
the stream will keep rolling. So whatever you want to do, if you could, you can either, go out and then rejoin or black out your screen or whatever you want. Works.
Perfect. Thanks, Drew.
All right. Thanks, Drew.
All right.
Matt,
Yeah.
I took some notes. I'll send them to you.
From this meeting, you mean?
Yep.
Okay, great. I mean, it was,
She's very nice for you.
yeah, I mean, it was not much substance anyways.
Yeah, but we still got to write it down.
Yeah. Don't look a gift
Absolutely.
horse in the mouth. All right, guys.
Oh,
I'm out of here.
heck no. I think I'm going to back out too, and I'll actually send Ron an email just to invite Bill and Roger.
All right.
So I don't forget. All
Okay.
right.
Thanks.
Cool.
Sounds
Thanks.
good. Matt, Mary Jo, are you guys there?
I'm present. And sounds like your companion's present too.
I think he thought I was talking to him. Or maybe I was seeing if there was somebody at the door or something. He just always trying to.
Yeah, a squirrel probably sneezed in the front yard.
That
I
could
can-
be. Drew, we're ready to start the next committee meeting.
Okay, you guys can start whenever.
Are you gonna do the whole screen thing? Or
I put up the graphic at the start, just said like it was like committees, like plural, so
oh,
it'll
Okay,
you
no
guys can just
worries.
roll into it.
okay, thank you very much. So welcome to our Public Safety Committee meeting. And if it looks like I'm kind of looking to the side, sometimes it's because I put my Zoom screen on my second screen and then the screen where I take my notes on my main screen. So like when I'm typing, it looks like I'm looking at you guys, maybe, I don't know. So did everyone get the meeting minutes from May and August that I provided in the email?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm shaking my head.
That's okay.
You can't hear my rocks rattling.
Does anybody have an issue with those?
I do not.
No, as always, they're very well done.
Thank you. Okay, so I should be good on meeting minutes and yay. All right, so as far as the fire department goes, my understanding is that their negotiations are underway for the part-time firefighter contracts. Did either one of you volunteer to be a part of that process?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Hang on. I take that back. I volunteered to be part of the police, not the firefighters. Sorry.
Matt, did you volunteer?
I did not. I would consider it if I could appear via telephone. I'm not sure what the format is, but I just don't have the availability to be in person during most days of the week.
It's not. It was a Zoom meeting. We've already had one.
Well, to make a long story short, I did not. I'm sorry, I got a dog here chasing his tail.
Okay. So maybe before the next council meeting, I'll send some kind of email or something to Mr. Mosby, just kind of asking how that process went and if he can provide us with some kind of updates about that. Switch my screens around. Kind of weird. Does anybody have anything else about that?
You're still on fire, right?
On what?
On the fire,
Yeah,
on item number 2 on the agenda.
yeah. Okay, well, now I'm gonna move to item number 3, which is the police department. There was no report for the month of August. No surprises there. And yeah, so Mary Jo, you mentioned that you did volunteer to be a part of that process. You don't have to tell us, like, can you just tell us how it's going, or without telling us, like, getting into anything that you're not supposed to get into?
Right. And I won't go into detail other than we had our first meeting. I think it went very well. The law director was on that call, and they're waiting to hear back from other parties before we schedule our next meeting, so we have a little more data to go on. So our next meeting is not scheduled at this time.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Is that all we have about the police department?
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you for a quick second? I got a text from Beth
Oh,
that said she got on. Can you guys hear me? But I don't see her.
I don't
Do
see her
you see
on.
anyone in
No,
the?
Someone's in the attendees, but it's just a phone number, and that's probably.
that's probably her.
Does it end in 31?
Yes, it does.
Yep, that will be her. We can't. How can we fix this, Drew?
I can get her to be a panelist instead of an attendee.
That would be awesome if you can make that conversion.
Okay, wonderful. We'll wait for Beth. I probably shouldn't have assumed that she wasn't coming. Beth, can you hear us?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm
All right.
sorry. I didn't think that you were going to make it today. So I apologize that I started with before you got here.
It's okay. I had issues getting on earlier, and well, it is what it is.
Yep, you're here now, so that's great. So all we talked about was the fire department. Did you get my the minutes and the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so we just kind of talked about the fire department. Nobody volunteered to be a part of the process for negotiating that contract. Did you volunteer to be a part of that process by any chance?
No.
All right, and Mary Jo was just telling us that she was actually a part of the process for negotiating the police contracts, and she just said that that process is continuing right now. She can't really go into a whole lot of detail because of the sensitive nature of the contracts. I apologize, but my dog is very passive aggressive, so he's throwing something around to make a lot of noise. So
I've got a really quick question. It's kind of on and off topic. Did the fire department ever get a new roof?
yes,
Okay.
yes, that is a great question. I will put that there. Update. Yes, they did get their roof. They also
Erica,
got
if
the
I could,
ambulance.
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I could add a little to that, I believe I heard that that repair took longer than it should have, and there was additional damage like to drywall and stuff like that. So it probably cost a little more than it should have. Do you remember, or did I make that up? Did I hear that somewhere? I don't see any kind of recognition on your face, but I feel like I heard that.
You may have heard that. I didn't. I just wanted to make sure that the work was done,
Okay.
because I knew that it's one of those things that a roof, if you don't repair it, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Right.
And I did see the big garbage can that was catching the water before the roof was repaired. So I'm not surprised that it took longer than it was supposed to take. That doesn't surprise me at all. But my understanding is that they did get their roof. But I will follow up to see why, or if it did take longer than it should have and how much more it cost. I'll certainly follow up with Mr. Mosby about that. Actually, I'll follow up with Brian Fels about it because he's very transparent and he's awesome. So I will follow up with him. The fire department also did get their ambulance. And it is, I did go see it. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. So at the time that I saw it, it wasn't being used yet because they didn't have everything installed that they needed to have installed. But I'm assuming that they've done that by this time and that they're actually using it. So Okay. And Mary Jo, did you have something else? I'm going back to item number 3. Did you have something else about the fire department? I'm sorry, the police department?
No, I did not.
Anybody else have anything else about the police department?
Not right now.
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. All right. So speed hump proposals. We still have the proposals that Mr. Hedger gave us before he resigned. I think that we should kind of figure out maybe what streets to target for the street for speed humps, and then maybe get a better understanding of the types of speed humps that there are, because there apparently are multiple different kinds, and not all speed humps will cause damage to like the fire, like police vehicles and fire trucks that everybody kept describing. Not all of them do that. So if and we all live around here, but if you go over to Bobolink, Bobolink, and where it turns into Edwood, just kind of right off of Galbraith down the street there are speed humps on that street. And they're kind of like a flatter kind of speed hump. And you can safely go over those things at 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. And, your car is not jumping or jarring, but anything more than that is going to be a problem. So they do exactly what I think they're designed to do. And it's not like those big, like big pointy ones that you see in parking lots. So I think that maybe we need to kind of figure out, first of all, what streets we want to target with this, and then like maybe talk about the different kinds and maybe go from there. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
So I think I have a, sorry. No, you go ahead.
The major cut-through streets, I think, are important, but we also have to look out for the, how they can't be in line with someone's driveway and the distance of all the stop signs and all that criteria. I think it's messy, but yeah, definitely all the big cut-throughs that people use.
Okay.
So I guess I maybe I didn't read the proposal clearly, but it was my understanding that it was more resident driven than council driven or than city driven, and that
Right.
maybe we advertise that this is, once it gets passed, we advertise that this is an option for people, and because they have to get like a petition signed, right?
Right. They
I mean-
have to. Well, the one that Christians submitted to us would be, they would go to their neighbors and get their neighbors to sign and buy into it. They have to have so many of the neighbors. The only issue that I have with that, obviously, if there's somebody who lives on Galbraith and they can find enough neighbors on Galbraith, then according to that, and they could put them on Galbraith. And I still don't think they're appropriate for Galbraith, even though
Or Hamilton.
Or Hamilton, even
Yeah.
though maybe apparently we're going to have them on Galbraith. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see after the work is
Well,
all.
is there, I mean, I guess the answer for that, Eric, obviously is some kind of council discretion.
Right.
You know.
But I think that's in the proposal also, isn't there, that there's some type of approval? I'm going to use the word
Yes.
committee or board or something like that, that it has to be approved, right? It has to go through a screening process. It's not only resident driven, it's also consider, like what Beth was saying, it can't be by a driveway. It has to be a certain length from probably a stop sign, and there's other criteria that it has to meet.
Well, we might want to think about, I mean, just throwing this out there, figuring out a few roads where we're just like, it's not going to happen, right? And maybe even putting that directly in the legislation in the sense that even though we might have the discretion to refuse, it's kind of discouraging for people if we ever have to exercise that. It might be better to at least put a list out if we know there's absolute no's ahead of time, so someone doesn't go through all the effort of getting people to buy in, getting a petition just for us to say, sorry, Charlie, we're not doing it, right?
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are there any roads that anyone can think of besides Hamilton and Galbraith? Is Simpson a forbidden road? Savannah, Betts, all those main thoroughfares? I don't know. I'm tossing them out.
Right. I don't think that those are the same as Hamilton and Galbraith. Obviously, you know, there's I mean, there are playgrounds and everything, you know, off of those roads. So I would think that, I mean, I don't know. I guess I would want to just kind of feel the pulse of the people who live over there, like how they feel about that. I do know that I've received emails about Betts Avenue. So there are people who live on Betts who would absolutely be on board with this. So
Well, one thing I would bring up though, Erica, about Simpson is it's a bus route. And I don't know
Mm.
the Metro is going to be super thrilled with us putting speed bumps in on their bus route.
buses go down Edwood and Bubble Link as well.
Yeah, I mean, we might want to not put speed bumps on the bus routes.
But I
I'm
think
just
what she's saying is Bobolink is a bus route and it has speed humps. Is that what you're saying, Erica?
Yes.
They might not be happy about it, but
I mean, frankly, some of the buses drive crazy too, and that's not okay. What was the other streets you mentioned, Mary Jo? You said Simpson and Betts.
Savannah. Trying to think of any other big cut throughs. But really, that's what we need.
Bising, did you say
I mean-
Bising? Bising's kind of a cut through, but I wouldn't mind them on Bising just in the sense that talk about where there's a abundance of children during school egress and
Bising and
regress. You
Laboido.
know?
I just don't know where one would go in Laboido because that's a very tight spot for driveways. But I don't know if you can maybe get away with it down by the football field. I think that would be a spot for some.
Beth, have you driven down Bubble Link and Edwood lately?
No, but I know what the humps are like.
Are the driveways on Laboido comparable in space to the driveways on Bubble Link?
I want to say they're probably a little bit closer together.
Okay. So maybe we should kind of figure out what streets first and then go from there.
I mean, streets isn't like no streets and then go from there.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Anybody else have any more input on that one?
Nope.
Okay, all righty. Mayor's task force. as an update, there's no update. Our last meeting was canceled. It hasn't been rescheduled yet. So no new information at this time. Police task force. I haven't really done still haven't done anything with that at this time. So no new information there. Sorry. Okay, old business. We kind of talked about the document formats in the rules and public policy meeting today. And that's something that I have claimed ownership for. And I will follow up with Ron or Mr. Mosby to try to figure out like what system the city can purchase and give us all access to so that we can start to preserve our documents in the way that we're supposed to preserve them. Okay, new business. Does anybody have any new business? It's crickets.
Guess that's a no.
It's
No new
not going
business.
to be a secret anymore. I'm going to tell you guys something.
What?
You're on public record. Hang on. Do you want it to be across the airwaves? Just, I don't know where you're going with this, but
My house is on the market.
okay. Can we take this conversation offline?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So as far as the other new business, at the risk of upsetting more people more of the time, I want to have some kind of a process where we get regular updates from about our streets and about the police department and about the fire department. I don't think it'll be an issue for Chief Fells, but I don't know, I just want us to have some kind of regular thing where, so that we just know what's going on. I feel like we're just kind of sitting here not knowing what's happening or what's going on.
So basically like a status report kind of thing, like a weekly update kind of,
Just like a
monthly.
monthly,
What-
just
what's
like
your-
a monthly, this is what we're doing. Like, this is why we need 50% of your budget kind of thing, This
I
is why
agree.
oh, okay. I mean, at the budget meeting, there were a lot of, strong feelings about how the budget was, going to supposedly, that's not a word, and it was proposed to be cut. And so I would like to know, I would like to see some kind of information or, something just telling me, what's going on and why, I don't know.
What have
I
you done
care
for me
about-
lately?
Right. Sort of like, why do you get 52% of my budget? That kind of thing. And I just want to know if it's something that's unreasonable for me to ask for, that I need, the members of this committee to tell me that, and I won't, start to harp on it. But if it's not unreasonable, I would like to request that.
Erica, I don't
We could probably
think
just make
that-
a motion to, and have some type, like your criteria, and list that out in your motion to say, I would like to see this, 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 and this, in a status report, and a monthly status report, and a weekly status report.
Right. I don't know that any of the department heads have ever pushed back at coming into a committee and giving us a report anyways, honestly. So
Okay.
I don't think you get any pushback on it. They generally seem to have no problem to come in and just give us updates.
Right, but I think if you know kind of what you would like to see, then you should kind of preset that guidance so that you're not getting just a bunch of numbers that don't really substantiate what you're asking for, what you're looking for.
Okay. That makes sense.
I would just put some parameters around what your expectations are. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, so what I will do then is maybe draft something like that and then send, oh, we can't discuss that in an email. Maybe discuss it at the next council meeting. Put it on the council meeting agenda. Is everybody okay with that?
Or
What,
if anyone
getting
has
a
any
report?
suggestions, we could email you, not email the group, but we could email you directly. with
Oh, okay.
items that we would want to see. As long as we do it individually, we could do that to you.
Okay, that sounds good. So if everybody can just send me an email with some suggested parameters for what we would like to see in a monthly status report from the departments that, according to council rules, this committee kind of is within our purview. So that's police, fire, and streets, highways. That would be great.
Kind of a, can I divert us just a little? When you mentioned
Sure.
streets, do we have any kind of justification as why they need to buy a new backhoe?
Yes, please.
Or do we have
No,
any?
I personally don't think we can afford that. I think that that's
It seemed like it was out of the blue. I had never
I don't
heard
even-
anything about.
Right.
It was a backhoe, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know anything about that. I think we should probably follow up about it a little more. As a matter of fact, I will. I honestly didn't follow up the last meeting because I was too annoyed, and you have to be mindful of that kind of thing before you say something. So that's why I didn't ask about it at the time, but I will ask for more information. I'll make sure to follow up about that. That's a great question.
I just didn't, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I just didn't know any kind of justification for it. Was it just because it's old and we got a good deal, so let's do it? Let's spend $75,000?
Heck no.
That doesn't sound like justification to me.
I don't
What do
understand.
I know?
I thought that if it was $75,000, you had to get council's okay before you could do that. Is that not the case? Am I missing something? I might be.
I thought the cutoff was at like 49.9. Like
That's what I
right
thought.
before 50.
Right.
That's
Matt, do you know?
my memory.
Off the top of my head, I do not. But there's obviously, I mean, there is an amount, but I don't know exactly what the amount is.
Well, I know what the amount is. It's 49,999. So I know that. I'm just saying, is there another way that the administration can go and pay $75,000 for a piece of equipment without coming to council first?
Well, it depends if there's some kind of fund that there's money already appropriated for them to spend on such equipment, then yeah, maybe. And then there's also a requirement that, obviously certain jobs over a certain value have to be bid out publicly. So there's a couple issues at play, but I mean, typically speaking, yeah, I mean, obviously we hold the purse strings that have to appropriate money unless we've already done it.
We have not.
We have not.
well, then I think you know the answer. So we might need to follow up and see what's going on and whether or not we need to vote on it, right?
Okay, sounds good to me.
Mary Jo, there's nothing within like the street levy fund. There's no kind of like account there. I mean, you're probably the most knowledgeable here when it comes to
Account
finance.
for equipment? What
Yeah.
what are you asking me?
I guess that's what I'm asking. If there's any,
There's money
I know
in
like we
there.
have the firefighters fund that funds for certain capital, but I don't know if there's some kind of like discretionary fund within the street levy that can be used for equipment.
If it is, it's brand spanking new because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, well, then there's probably not. I don't think. With your years on finance committee, you probably would know about it.
Okay. Well, that's another thing that we can follow up with. I'll make sure I get that on the agenda for our next city council meeting, which is this upcoming Monday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other new business?
If you wait long enough, we'll come up with something.
Yeah. We don't need to do that though. Like, we don't just need to meet for the sake of meeting or talk for the sake of talking. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, then this meeting is adjourned and it is only 8:02 p.m. Yay.
Good
All
for
right.
you.
Sounds good.
I will see you all later.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
Yeah.
Thanks, Erica. See you guys.
Bye.